because we got some really exciting news to talk about. It's going to cover our bicycle group, our overlanding group, our adventure groups.
Continue for 3 miles.
Some other new stuff that we're going to touch on. I'm going to make this video as quick as I can. That said, particularly bicycle folks, I promised you would get first news about our next ride on YouTube. So bicycle folks, stick around for that. So please, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to our channel, ring that bell or click that bell so you get notification when these new videos pop up. Like this video, that helps us tremendously, but most importantly, if you do have questions or thoughts of your own or ideas that you want to share with us, please do comment on this video. Welcome back to Spinistry Adventures. I am your adventure host, Kevin Lee, reporting to you live from the LBJ grasslands just outside of Decatur, Texas. Have the trailer hooked up, lights are on. We're heading home from a really great weekend that helped us start to figure out what direction to take things. We've definitely figured out what we can't do going forward, and that's sometimes almost as much good news as figuring out what you can do. So I'll touch base on that momentarily. We have definitely figured out a longer term game plan to help bridge this COVID-19 gap. We're really excited about that. We're going to talk about that. The first thing we have figured out that we're getting excited about, and I touched on it on the introduction there, we are shifting towards a wider blanket of Spinistry adventures. It's definitely going to include the cycling groups. Everything we do is going to go on the basis of adventure bicycling fits in with it as well. But we've got some really cool content ideas and gathering ideas around overlanding, van life, Jeeps, Subarus, and dual sport motorcycles as well. And this is going to include a lot of really good informational content that we'll be sharing on YouTube and the web and stuff like that, but also some adventures in the vein of what we've done for our bicycle groups over the past, but aimed more at the motorized folks. And we're going to be putting together some gatherings as well. So we're really excited about the direction some of this stuff's going. We're more than excited, actually. It was a fantastic weekend. We had our first kind of sort of bicycle event in months, followed really strong safety protocols for COVID-19. Folks had a good time, and we learned some really important stuff from it. To be totally honest with you, I've been driving myself batty for the past 3 months, trying to find ways not to make money, because we knew that wasn't gonna be happening, but just try to find ways to let people still get their adventure on and have a good time on the bikes and stuff like that. We can keep trying to guess and basically stabbing in the dark at what the different agencies or venues or landowners or whatever are going to want from us a safety approved event. You know, right now nobody that we want to work with can even tell us what that is, and we're not saying that we want to force that stuff to happen, but for us to even say, well, we would like to do this on this date at this venue, it's all just pie in the sky, making stuff up on the fly and hoping somebody approves a plan we come up with, which they probably won't, because they're not going to understand what we're trying to do to create pseudo bicycle racing with proper social it's too complicated, too many moving pieces. So I'm not even going to try to sort that out anymore. I'm gonna let others be the trailblazers on that, and it makes the most sense for the governments themselves and the approved government associates that have to do their own events and things like that. It makes more sense for them to pave the way and show us what it takes to get approvals for group gatherings and things like that. So that's a huge relief, actually, just to finally get that realization of, how am I going to know when we can move forward? That's going to help us figure out when we can move forward. When we see others putting on their traditional events. Traditional events are off the table for a while, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Realistically, at least through the end of July, maybe going into August, we can start thinking about the possibility of those events. But again, we want to see other people, not other bicycle events. We want to see other North Texas specifically, counties, cities, chambers of commerce, how they're doing their festivals and gatherings and things like that. End of July, we'll circle back on this and see if we can start putting together organized events. But until then, we're just going to be doing club Spinistry rides. We want to take care of our club members, make sure everybody's getting their bang for the buck. And thank you everyone who has been joining the club and renewing your memberships. That's been absolutely phenomenal. We're at our highest membership level ever. Hanging out with Mike from Off Grid Yo. Talking about, we were pulling the trailer. We were there boondocking, dispersed camping for the staging for our event this past weekend. I just love that way of getting away. Dispersed camping, primitive camping, just finding the spot you want to be with your friends and hang out in a COVID-19 appropriate social distancing fashion. We know our bike packing folks get where that's coming from, and we know some of our gravel riding folks, they've been a little more camping curious. I would say, we had 50 people or so that came out this weekend, and in that were probably a dozen Jeeps and another dozen Subarus. So we've, already in our own cycling community, we've got a lot of, and that doesn't include the four-wheel drive trucks and other things out there. We've got a lot of overlanding capable bicycle riders that would probably be interested in some of the camping stuff and things like that. So we're gonna do some trips that are really built around the overnighting, the camping aspect of it, where the bicycling is going to be kind of secondary for folks that even want to, and it's not even a requirement. Some folks may want to bring kayaks or just go hiking or just hang out in a hammock under the shade tree for the weekend. The focus will be a gathering spot and probably a route to take Jeeps and Subis and whatever else out and about and see some cool things. People on bicycles can do that if they choose. We got some ideas along those lines. We know there's some fundamental off-grid stuff that maybe veterans who've been doing it for a little while might take for granted, that some of the newer people could maybe use a little help with some of the basics or a little bit of guidance. And that's kind of what we did with gravel grinding from the get-go and bike packing from the get-go. So throw that into the mix a little bit. Just give folks some overnighting training wheels type gatherings and let them feel comfortable and start figuring out what their real questions are, and they can grow at their own pace from there if they choose to. Tie in beautifully with our going to California route. We're going to use that as the main way to facilitate these events. So we'll have a gathering in Florida, we'll have a gathering in Georgia, we'll have a gathering in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, Utah again, Nevada, California. We'll do gatherings in each of those states for folks in those areas to get familiar with the routes we have through there. But what we're looking forward to is getting out there and getting in a group and getting some local knowledge. Find out where that best taco joint is, or a fantastic brewery, or a really cool swimming hole, or whatever else. So I've been rambling for a while about all that. So now here's the part for the folks that I promised you would find out more about our next bicycle event, group ride, whatever we want to call it, on YouTube first. So this Saturday night, June 20th, we're going to go to our old haunt in Sanger, Texas, the railroad ballpark, where we used to do some of our midnight massacres and can't do Kanzas of the past. And we're going to do a night ride because it is getting warm in Texas. It's going to be for Club Spinistry members, because we're not charging an entry fee, but we still have to have the proper insurance and things like that. And that's, for us, that's one of the biggest things for people to join Club Spinistry, is then they're insured for our club events. This will be all self-navigated. There will not be Spinistry arrows on this one. We're gonna try this out. We're getting to the point where most everyone does have a GPS device or is getting familiar enough with Ride with GPS. Most likely, the way we're going to do this, I'll have sign up open tonight. Now let's call it maybe tonight, Monday morning. Sign up will be opened. It's going to be limited to 70 spots, basically 7 waves of 10. We'll have sign up open by Monday morning at the latest. Club Spinistry members, open to Club Spinistry members, no charge, railroad ballpark, Saturday night. Have your lights charged up, have your navigation devices ready, all that good stuff. And the one thing I really meant to say, because this is really, really important, so I'm going to leave this here at the end, but I'm also going to copy it and put it towards the beginning too, because this is hugely important for the direction we're going and stuff. We really need to get our subscribers up on YouTube. So please, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to our channel, ring that bell or click that bell so you get notification when these new videos pop up. Like this video, that helps us tremendously. But most importantly, if you do have questions or thoughts of your own or ideas that you want to share with us, please do comment on this video.